Well, here I am once again at probably my last kiln opening for the year. I work real hard up until November. We get close to Thanksgiving and I have a pop-up sale, a little shop up here. I don't go to shows, I don't go to craft fairs, I don't do any of that. I'm a hobby potter and I like to have fun just making stuff that I like to make. But when I have these two sales, one is we have a citywide garage sale each April, and I try to have enough stock for that local people come around and purchase some things from me. And then I have a thing at Small Business Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I work real hard. I work real hard for me, which a lot of you potters, I mean, you crank some stuff out, and I know you do, and you make a lot. I can't physically do a whole lot. And so this is a hobby for me. It helps me deal with some neuromuscular issues, keeps my body moving a little bit, and I get down to this, real close to this end. And like I say, we're going to travel some here, but this is my last kiln opening. I have some refire stuff up here, a few things that didn't quite come out. I've put some extra flux glazes on, and I'm going to load those when I'm done with this. And I don't think I'll do any kind of video on it, but here we go. This does have the little brother to the bowl from that I took out earlier, which was the Honey Flux, Ancient Jasper, and Textured Turquoise. And I'm excited to see whether it did the pinholes or not. Hopefully it makes me happy. I want something to make me happy today. So here we go. I got up early this morning. I ran this last night, and I don't usually leave the house when it's running, but the granddaughter had a softball game, so we were away for a couple of hours. I came back in and this thing kicked off about 8 o'clock last night, and I was back out here in about 12 hours. And as you see, you'll see the temperature gauge. I have an ink bird, I don't have a pyrometer, but I stuck that in there and it only went to 165, so things were good here. So here we go. First item. I like this combination. I want to show this to you. This is really pretty. This is a couple of things that I do together, and you've seen me do this. One, I love the fluting on the bowl, and that is my little chopstick. I use the end of a chopstick and put this little fluting on here. And doesn't that just make a gorgeous little, you know, you kind of gauge when that's just hard enough and just soft enough to go around there with your Shimpo banding wheel and just put that edge in there. But it looks so nice. This is Textured Turquoise under Blue Rutile. And I did the same thing inside and out. And then at the top part here, what I did, and I'm saying 2 coats of Textured Turquoise, 2 coats of Blue Rutile. And you don't want to go too light because Blue Rutile will turn brown on you if you go too light on it. So you need enough that you get the color in there. But this top part is iron luster with oatmeal. And you've seen me do a lot of pieces with iron luster and then put oatmeal on it. And I actually have a flower pot in the house that I love, and I couldn't remember what I did to get this combo. And I go back and watch my own videos because I was like, what? I like that piece. What did I do? How did I do that? And I have to go watch my own videos sometimes to get the same results. But there you can see how that grooving on the bottom just stopped it. And that's pretty. That's a really nice little bowl. I'd be interested. This is probably 7 inches across. There's a lot of potters that follow me. What would you charge for a bowl like this? This is like a 7-inch bowl. Very pretty, very nice. What do you guys charge for that? I'm curious. And what area are you in? I'm in a pretty hot area for pottery, a lot of growth, a lot of art. And I think I undercharge a lot of times. And so I'd be really curious as to your thoughts on something like this. I am flying solo today. The wife has gone to town, and I don't really care for town. Ha ha. This is, look at this pretty little porcelain lidded jar. See that? Nice little handle on it. She's even pretty on the inside. Isn't that gorgeous? And you guys know what that is. That is Honey Flux. where I put heavy bands, see the heavier bands there, of iron luster. And then after I've made the bands, and this top part really slid down, you can see how that slid. I put those bands on, heavier bands in like 3 or 4 areas, and then cover the whole thing with iron luster, and you get that neat effect. And I was afraid I didn't go close enough to the top. I wanted to fire this with the lid on it, and I've screwed up doing that before. So I tried to keep it real clean, but it did kind of fade up. That's nice. I love working with porcelain. This is porcelain. And that gives us a really pretty little jar. Okay. Look at this. Look at that. I had one little hiccup here. Let's see. Look at these drips. Oh my gosh. Do you ever fall in love with a piece? Again, this is just my old junk glaze that I put inside of vases. But those runs. This is the Honey Flux Ancient Jasper. And I put a little band of textured turquoise in here and then covered it with Ancient Jasper. That's just really unique, isn't it? I'm just impressed with that. I got a little heavy here on some place. I got one little place that stuck to the kiln shelf, but I'm not worried about that. I'll grind that out a little. We'll smooth that up, and this will still be just a really, really pretty piece. Look at how we got those colors in there. I feel like I've gone a little heavy on the Honey Flux. I get a lot of movement, but I also, I kind of risk getting myself in trouble because you can see how much that baby ran. But I love it. I love it. I'll sell it. I just have fun with this. Let's see where we're at down here. I have a lot of small pieces. All right, I'm gonna grab this. I may have to get some gloves. It's still warm down in there. Good grief. All right, this is, dang, it did the same thing almost. Just a couple of little pinholes in it. This is the little brother to the one I did on that last video. The colors are great. This one has just a few pinholes, but it's right where the textured turquoise was at again. Don't know why, other than it could have been a little heavy on the glaze. I don't know. I mean, it didn't do it on that last piece. That's the same combo. This one. Look at that. I mean, they're basically the same. This one's a little heavier. It looks like a little darker. So maybe that's what it was. We were just heavy on that glaze with the textured turquoise and it didn't care for it, but that's what it is. But I still love, don't y'all just love that little rib around the top? And that is just taking a trim tool when it's at the right, take a little trim tool and just go around there like that and just make that little ribbon top. That's pretty. All right, I've got a lot of little pieces here, some mugs. I threw some bigger mugs. I love this color. I don't know what, it almost has a salmon look to it. This is Coyote's Sunset Pink. And if you look in here, how it kind of breaks to some yellow. I was throwing some taller, trying to work on some taller tumblers. And these just weren't as big as I wanted, so I thought they made really great mugs. But look at how that breaks. You get the yellow, and I think you get that sunset look in there. I like Coyote Sunset Pink. I did a couple of mugs like that. There's another one that matches. Get those yellows and pinks in there. Real pretty. Oh my gosh. Guess who has some shelf grinding to do? I really have a problem with this glaze, but I'll get back to that. There's some mugs. Whew. that is my iron luster and textured turquoise. And funny enough, I woke up this morning thinking about, you know what, I think I put that glaze on pretty heavy. I'll show it to you in a minute. It's horrible. It'll make you want to cry. Again, iron luster with just oatmeal around the rim. Beautiful mugs, just beautiful. This is really dark. I must have done some ancient jasper or something on this one. I really couldn't tell you. Got some really neat movement in that. Look at that. I wish I could tell you exactly what I did on this one, but I really don't know. That has to be ancient jasper at the bottom with, this does look a whole lot like our iron luster and oatmeal at the top, with probably ancient jasper at the bottom. It is, the way that breaks. See how that is? Whew. That's just a pretty little vase. And here's one of these little drinking glasses that I was making, these little taller Pilsner cup, whatever you want to call it, speckled clay. This was one, I knew when it went in, it had a little S crack in the bottom. And so I just made it for us. We'll keep it here at the house. It's very usable, but I won't sell it with that little S crack. That is just straight blue rutile on speckled clay, and I put seaweed around the top. Excuse me, and we get that nice break in that. Pretty tumbler, I guess. This one really makes me want to cry down here. This is obviously textured turquoise with blue rutile on top. Just a neat little glass. My granddaughter, the youngest granddaughter, she loves these. We've got one in the house, it's tourmaline, and she likes to put orange juice in it because she says it keeps it cold. The thicker glass keeps it cold instead of, like, you know, kids drink out of little thin plastic cups all the time. Well, this one, she likes that ceramic because she said it keeps it cold for her. There it is. Isn't that a beauty? Whew. This is, you know, if that wouldn't have done that, that would have been such a pretty mug. And I'll grind it up somewhat. I might be able to fix that some. Probably, once again, a keeper for the house when I get a grinder after it. This is Crazed Copper by Coyote. And it's a neat glaze, but it goes on chunky and dry. It doesn't flow really nice and smooth. And like I say, I woke up this morning thinking about this one, like, you know what? I know I put that too close to the bottom. And again, I failed myself. I'm not putting my little groove, my little cut down here that stops that. But I had obsidian around the top. That's downpour inside as a liner. And this is seaweed up here. Neat colors. If I could have controlled this at the bottom. So I will, if you don't own an angle grinder and you're in pottery, you probably ought to invest in one. I finally did. Because I had to. Oops. This kind of stuff happens. And the only way to get that off sufficiently, if you don't have a lot of kiln wash on there, which I don't on these. My refires, I'm getting ready to put kiln wash on all these before I do my refires. But you're gonna have to have a grinder and grind that stuff off. Look at that. This was a little mug, and this is iron luster. I had one kind of like this. You may have seen it in a little short I did. And it was my mug, and I was keeping it. And again, somebody came along, saw it on the shelf, and bought it. But I made this little mug, and I put a badge on it. I have a little badge that's different things. This one was said, I love you more than coffee. And I didn't get it on there, and so when I bisque fired it, it popped off. And so it left all my little marks on it, but I took my Dremel and it would have been on this side right here. And I just used my little stone on it and cleaned that all up and then put this glaze on nice and heavy. And you can't even tell where that was at. And some people like little mugs. I don't like them quite that small, but a lot of people will buy little mugs. They like them small. All right. I have some mixing bowls here. These will go to the sale with me. I get my little whisk. I have a whisk that I buy, like 10 of them. I'll show you these. Got one. Watch that video that shows you how to make these. They're simple to make. It's a little, I call it a Saturday morning egg bowl. I buy these on Amazon, a pack of 10. And put that little handle on it. You can hold that so easy. This is speckled clay from Brackers. Well, isn't that the craps? Look at that. I have no idea what happened there or why that happened. That's a really weird split in a really weird place, is it not? Very unique. But this one was, this was just honey flux with blue ratil on it and some textured turquoise on the inside, and the glaze came out pretty. But again, that one I won't be able to sell. I'll end up giving that to a friend. If I can ever find a friend. That's pretty. That's just the speckled clay. I did all the 3 of these in speckled clay. This was honey flux, and I like this. This is Albany slip brown around the rim. So I did 2 coats, you can see down to a certain point right then there. A little heavier at the top. And then Albany slip brown, pretty thick around there. And that made a real pretty little ball. This is not a river birch glaze or anything. This is just the speckled clay from Brackers with the Albany slip brown. Pretty. All right, last one of the year. Hold your breath. I'll be dogged. This is just a speckled clay. See, just as clean as it can be. And that is snow, Amico snow. It's a Celadon, it's very stable. Look at that, took it right down to the bottom where that little cut is that I make. It's like, you can see those in my videos, how to do that little cut right there. Lets it sit up, see right in there. Okay, well great. I've got some good ones out of here and I've got some disappointment out of here. So, welcome to the world of pottery. Get your ups, get your downs. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Good luck on your glazing.